ends in 3 days. Don't fuck with them hoes.
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Maniji. Yes, as we continue on with the 31 Days of Horror, it is time for me to continue on with my Underworld film series. This time we're going to talk about the second film in the series. It is Underworld Evolution. Yes! Now, Underworld Evolution is a 2006 action-adventure horror film. It was directed by Len Wiseman and written by Danny McBride, based upon the characters by Kevin Jarreau, Les Wiseman, and Danny McBride. Now, the film stars Kate Beckinsale, Scott Speedsman, Tony Curran, Derek Jacobi, and Brian Steele. Now, picking up directly from the previous film, vampire warrior Celine and the vampire lichen hybrid Michael hunt for clues to reveal the history of their races and the war between them. Now, as I stated before in my previous review, we know that the film didn't get the type of got a lot of negative reviews, but like I said, many horror fans liked it. So while the first film received negative reviews from critics, many horror fans, including myself, loved the film's slick gothic style, Kate Beckinsale's performance as Celine, and the change to the vampire werewolf mythology. Now, as I stated in my previous video, the reason why I like this series so much is because of the fact that vampires and werewolves in this universe, they're not supernatural creatures. They're a different set of species brought on by the virus that Alexander Corvinus had when his village was ravaged by a plague. His body was able to mold and change the disease. So when his sons had the disease, Marcus got bit by a vampire. He became the first vampire, and William became the first werewolf or lichen. And his human son, that part of the virus remained dormant, and as far as his descendants is concerned, and that's where Michael Corvinus comes into play. But that's the reason why I truly like the Underworld series, because of how they change the mythology of vampires and werewolves. That's why you have to give credit for Kevin, Len, and Danny for coming up with something totally different regarding two of horror's favorite supernatural creatures. So, despite the negative reviews, Underworld was a surprise hit, grossing $95 million on a $22 budget. So, 3 years later, Sony would release the second film in the franchise, Underworld Evolution. Now, after seeing a prologue where the vampire elders Victor and Amelia capture and imprison the werewolf William despite Marcus's protests, we pick up where we left off from the previous film, where Celine and Michael are now on the run from the events that took place in the first film, because they know that the other death dealers and eventually Marcus will come after them, because one of the rules says that you can't kill an elder. So unfortunately, that's what Celine did to Victor in the first film. Meanwhile, vampire elder Marcus awakens and he kills Cravens for his betrayal, and then goes after Celine because he believes he knows the whereabouts of William's prison. Now, just to go over some of the events that took place in the beginning, at the end of the last film, the vampire, I forget the werewolf, I forget the Lycan's name. He was killed by Victor, and his blood went into Marcus's crypt. He eventually drank the blood, so elders have the ability to, when they get the creature's memories. So he eventually learned all about what was happening in the past events. That's why he killed Craven. But he eventually found out that in order to know where his brother's whereabouts were, he knew he had to go after Celine to find out why. Once again, Lynn and the filmmakers do a fantastic job, but once again, giving the film its slick and gothic-like look. I truly just love how all the films in this series look so great. In this one, from the village in the beginning of the film, from the castle where Celine confronts the vampire historian Andrea Tanis, to the castle where Marcus finds William prison, cinematographer Simon Duggan does an excellent job in giving the film the right type of atmosphere this needs. It's very slick, very gothic-like. It just looks so beautiful and wonderful. So you got to give them credit for how great they make these films look. I truly love the effects that they use, especially the human-sized bat Marcus turns into and how he uses his bat arms to kill and maim people. Yeah, it's all CGI, but it's really done very well. It looks very slick. Some of the battles that Celine and Marcus is having in the beginning of the film looks very well. It looks very not only choreographed well, but looks very stunning, and I just love how they filmed it all together. The effects also now the practical effects or the CGI effects they did a good job on the Lycans, especially Williams, as he looks scary, vicious, intimidating, and terrifying. Because as far as we know, with the earlier things Lycans before Lucian was born, once they turned to a werewolf, they never turned back to human. They were brutal, they were vicious, they caused a whole bunch of chaos throughout the countryside. That's the reason why Victor and the rest of his death dealers went out to capture William because it would have been overrun by Lycans. Now, Danny McBride's script expands more on the mythology regarding both vampires and Lycans, as we get to see Alexander Corvinus. He's actually been staying on the sidelines. He has a bunch of cleaners, making sure that anything that spills outside, he makes sure that the war between the Lycans and the vampires, anything that happens, his cleaners goes and kill it and cleans it up. The truth on why Victor killed Celine's family, and just how powerful Michael truly is as a vampire Lycan hybrid. He's very powerful. Now, as I stated before, there are some excellent fight scenes with both Michael and Celine fighting with Marcus in the beginning of the film, and in during the third act with Michael fighting William and Celine fighting Marcus. We get some great battle scenes with Michael in his hybrid form battling William. I like that fight scenes. I like the fight scene Celine has with Marcus, especially after what happens to Celine when she gets a dose of Alexander Convenience's blood. Yeah, she really does a good job in fighting him. Now, something I didn't talk about in the first film, and I'll talk about it now, the soundtrack that they use, and mainly all the films are fantastic. It really drives what's happening onto the film. So you got to get credit on the sound, the music that they played in this film, and the soundtrack as well. I actually have it on my playlist as well because I just love all the music and the music from the Underworld series. Overall, this is an excellent follow-up from the first film with some excellent visual, fine acting from the cast, decent CGI effects, and a satisfying conclusion. Now, I don't know if Danny, Les, and Kevin had any idea what they're going to do with this series after the second film came out. Obviously, they realized that where they wanted to go with this franchise, they decided to do the prequel, which I'll talk about in, probably sometime before the end of this week, with Underworld Rise of the Lycans. So I'll definitely be talking about that and the reasons why they decided to do the prequel like that. But this is a great follow up. Like I said, we get more an extensive background of the war between the Lycans and the werewolves and Lycans and the vampires. I'll get it right. Um, Tennis, we get to see his character and some of the secrets that he held. And of course, again, the real reason why Victor killed Celine's family. I mean, there's a reason why. It's not because he wanted to gorge himself on human blood, but there is a true purpose. Victor always has a purpose for some of the things that he does, but there is a reason why he wanted to kill them. And of course, because Celine looks so much like his daughter Sonia, he just couldn't bear to do something like that. And we'll learn why in Underworld Rise and the like. So there you have it. That is my video for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share because it really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. And again, I really like all you guys viewing all my videos right now. It's been really great to see everyone enjoying my content. And once again, I really like to keep this going because I would like to be monetized. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as a Horror Miser Money G, and always remember that horror rules. And I see you in my next video. I'm out.